Good morning, everybody. I hope that you're doing well as we finish this week. Wanted to talk about today's assignment. It's one of the most important, I think, for you actually in this class, and it's definitely one of my favorite. When people take operations management, by the way, this is a required class for you. When you transfer, you'll have an entire class on operations management. And by the time you take this class, you'll wrap your head around some statistics as well, business stats, and think about like manufacturing. It could be a service, it could be running a hospital, it could be anything, and what that entails in terms of optimization, in terms anything having to do with logistics. That's operations management, and this is a very important part of operations management here, this chapter, which has to do with reliability and quality. So the first part of this assignment is understanding W.E. Deming, William Edwards Deming, who's really one of my favorite American pioneers, and he's the reason that you can get into an airplane and not worry about anything, because General Electric, the leading jet engine manufacturer in the world, has one of the highest benchmark in terms of reliability and quality. And think about that. When they make jet engines, their defects go 6 decimal points past zero. So what that means is like they're literally a 0% defect, but it's like 0.0000001, right? It's insane. And so, by the way, if you think about that and you ask yourself, well, hold on, if we can make if we can make airplanes that way, or jet engines at least, why can't we make cars that way? So anyway, that's a little bit of background about him. Just a fascinating figure. And then after that, we're using what we just learned here and what you read in the book. And also, really, before you do this paper, make sure that you watch my lecture specifically on operations for this class, right? It'll take you to the quality section of the lecture, by the way. So do watch this first, and then you'll want to watch this interview in 1980 about W.E. Deming. I know you're thinking 1980, that's old. He was born in 1900. So by the time we figured out who this guy was, he was already 80 years old. And by the way, Toyota gives him credit for how they build cars in terms of reliability, quality, and everything. And then the third part of this is, now that we are learning about reliability and quality, is applying it to healthcare. And you'll do this by, when you go here, hospital safety grade, you will find by zip code your closest hospitals being accidental cuts. You kind of see that, harmful event is low, dangerous blood clot. And again, a really critical aspect of this assignment is for you to do that uh, heavy digging here and apply to what you're learning with this assignment, right? And again, the assignment's the reliability and quality. I always tell students, it's a kind of assignment maybe that you want to share with your family, so that if somebody needs hospitalization, and of course you don't, in a situation where you call 911, then I'd want to know what the strengths and weaknesses. Please apply yourself. Please take your time. This is what I usually remind people of. If you know you're going to be late, just don't half-ass it, right? Just take the penalty, which is really nothing, 2%, right, out of 20 points. And then do it tomorrow when you know you can commit maybe a couple of hours and do a really good job on this. Obviously, don't use AI. It's not worth losing 100% of everything, because our detector is really very accurate. Okay, so that's for that assignment. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, like, again, as we finish up this week, so you did psychographic yesterday. Some of you, a lot of you commented how it was spot on, and some of you said way, way off, not even close. And I've replied to some of you just to say, like, I acknowledge that, and remember that in advertising and marketing, it's really, we use stats, we use data, but you're trying to judge a book by the cover, right? So you're saying, okay, I'm going to try to zero in on a small segment of the population and target that segment. Are you going to be right all the time? Of course not. What you're going for is a critical mass. So think about mailers. When you get mailers, you come home, junk mail. A response rate that's considered a really high response rate for those is 2%. So just think about that, right? 98% of the people who get those are just not going to respond, and they know that. But they're hoping that just the 2% that respond are enough for them to not even just pay for the ad campaign, but of course, make a profit. So then I just talked about the quality management that's due today. And then, of course, on the 9th, tomorrow, you have exam three. So, again, you can take it today. I know several students have already taken that exam earlier in the week. So remember, you can always take it earlier. And then week seven, chapters 12 and 13 will open up on the 10th, right? And so here we have a couple of assignments, influencer marketing and using AI ethically. This is probably one of the most popular ones with the class because I'll ask you here to upload a syllabus from another class and compare that syllabus to your grade sheet and make sure it's accurate. And then that's it. We have our last chapter after that, 17, and we're done with, and that's going to really be an assignment about you, for you, and of course, the last three chapters. Last thing I want to tell you is we hired a new faculty. She is wonderful. So she's tenure track. She's going to be working full time here at Chaffey College. She has incredible background. She went to Cornell. She worked in tech. She worked in Silicon Valley, was involved in all kinds of wonderful things. And we're very, very lucky to have her. So why am I telling you about her? Because some of you told me that you're looking for classes for fall. And so she still has room here in these classes that starts 9/9 and 10/19. As I sent in my previous email, classes are filling up fast. Mine are full now. As of now, every single class I have for fall is full. 7 classes that I teach packed, and the same with my colleagues. So if you're looking for a class and with an exceptional professor, I strongly recommend you take her. You can take the in-person class that she's teaching Mondays, Wednesdays, 8 a.m. For entrepreneurship, small business management, or if you prefer online, she also teaches an intro to management class. She's been teaching at Cal Poly Pomona, and also she's taught at Laverne, and she's just wonderful. So that's it. Um, we'll leave it at that for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week and finish strong.